the Devils, and we're back talking everything Arizona State football. I'm the Rhino, Ryan Knowles. Here with me, as always, Big John Caldwell, my co-host. Aloha, Big John. Welcome back from Hawaii. That's why we're coming to you a little late this week. Big John was off the mainland and out at State 5-0 over there. And I know you had a good time. Welcome
Yeah,
back. And I
thank
know
you.
you're looking forward to some ASU football this weekend.
Yes, sir. It's I tried to keep up in between the beach, the pool, the mountains, the trails. Yeah, it was great. But yeah, I had a great time. Great. Uh, in fact, I'm seriously considering going back for the Maui Classic
Very
for
nice.
ASU basketball in a couple weeks, in the first of
Very
November.
nice.
Yeah,
Well, be glad you were out there, and I be glad you missed the game on Saturday because, it was not pretty. With Sam
did
Levitt out, we kind of figured this would happen. We thought ASU would at least keep it close for most of the game, but it was pretty ugly by halftime. And the second half wasn't much better as the Utah Utes roll over the Devils in Salt Lake, 42-10. Big John, just not a pretty game all the way around. Coming off, you expect ASU to play a little better coming off the bye, but they were very sloppy. Some bad penalties, a lot of missed tackles, and Sam Levitt doesn't block or tackle, so I mean him being out
right.
only goes so far as excuses are concerned.
No, you're absolutely right. I did see it. It was at first I was thinking, what did we leave the varsity on the bus still, or did they not travel? But
Yeah,
it was
right.
very frustrating. You always look at teams after a bye week and you say, are they, are they better off? Well, in this case, I think the bye was they were too soft during the bye week.
Well, yeah,
It's not
and yes, and Kenny Dillingham came out and said that this week, and even more than Sam Levitt practicing, I'll tell you, I like that he addressed the intensity. He said that the intensity was down. He kind of took it easy on the veterans during the bye. That's just not something you can do. I don't think at this point in the season you should be amping up the intensity to kind of make sure guys stay playing at a high level, especially when you got a team like this. You're going on the road to face. You got to be up here. You can't be down here when it comes to your energy and your intensity. And it just looked like, yeah, ASU was seriously lacking in those things. They weren't their discipline and their tackling was terrible. Missed way
Mhm.
too many, took some bad lines, just dirty eyes all the way around. It was just not a textbook game. It's probably the worst game we've seen ASU play in about 2 years.
No, we definitely let the physical those guys out physical us
Oh
in
yes,
everywhere. Kenny likes to say, your job, people move people, and
yeah,
it's a real simple way of saying we were not moving people. So we're going to get to this in a little bit, but I see some key guys. When I rewatched it, there's some key guys. There's some guys that are going to really have to step up this week
mm,
in
yeah, I
order
agree.
to win this game from a physicality standpoint. And I know they're
Yeah.
capable. That's the thing. They're capable based on what we've seen so far. So, the sky's not falling. The season's not over.
Oh no
Uh,
no.
we have everything you win this weekend, and all your goals you've set are
Mm,
still there. So,
definitely.
and that we tend to be half glass full kind of people, but I think the team is definitely have when it was the last time they lost two in a row. I don't even
Yeah,
Kenny
23. Yeah, it's been 2 years since they
in two
lost two in
years.
a row. So,
Correct. And
um, you know,
more importantly, I look at the staff, and the accountability of the staff to each other, to the players, to the coaches, highly accountable group of people. And I don't see this. I don't see us getting beat twice by Utah. Is my point. You know,
yeah, that
uh,
and that's
it
happened in the past too.
it sure
But
has.
ASU did not come out of this unscathed either. They had a couple bad injuries with
Oh,
Ben Coleman being out for the year, now ruled out for the year with a torn bicep muscle.
it's a
And
tendon.
then
Yeah,
yeah, so,
they
yeah,
repaired the tendon yesterday. So
uh, and then linebacker Cyrus Fiaseu was ruled out for the year. And it looks like Kyson Brown is going to miss at least a few more weeks. He
right.
was kind of back, but you could tell he wasn't really 100%. I think he kind of got something got re-aggravated against Utah, and he's not going to be back for a couple weeks at least. And then it looks like Xavier Alford is going to be out until the very end of the season,
Right.
at the earliest, if he's back at all. Looks like his injury has kind of lingered as well. So definitely been bitten by the injury bug. That was not so much of an issue last year. ASU managed to stay relatively healthy throughout the course of the season.
Yeah.
Obviously Sam Levitt missed a game, Cam Scatterbo missed a game here and there. Guys were banged up and were out, but it wasn't to this extent where you have basically a mash unit out there, and
Yeah.
you got a lot of second team guys stepping up. But for the most part, guys have. But now they have to reshuffle along the offensive line with because Ben Coleman was kind of the linchpin of that group. He was certainly their best offensive lineman, and now Wade Helton it
Mhm.
falls on him, and he's not even 100% right now
Right.
to take over at center. He's a redshirt freshman transfer from Iowa State. And then you got to go back to a Big Bow at left guard. Makua Pule, I think he's a sophomore, was taking first team reps at center this week. So there is a bit of a reshuffling along that offensive line. Hopefully they can come out and rally together and play well starting this weekend. Yeah, but some big news this week, of course, with Sam Levitt being back at practice. Every report we're hearing is that it has been pretty positive as far as him trending towards playing on Saturday. And it looks like it will be number 10 back under center when the Red Raiders come into town.
Yeah. I mean, I give Sims a lot of credit for giving it a good try. It was obvious to my eye, he was throwing balls really hard at people,
Mm.
and I don't think the receivers were quite, unless they were body catchers. There was just a lot of balls that were going right past him, and so
Yeah, the
that
timing was a little off.
exactly timing was off,
Yeah.
and he's always thrown a hard ball. And I think had in retrospect they said they were giving him first team reps. He was not. I didn't see him get any first team reps when I was there the
Yeah,
Tuesday before the
I
game.
doubt it.
But well, it wasn't really. Sam was thing was just kind of they were still monitoring it. They really weren't thinking it was going to be that bad. But some anyway, I believe them now when they say this thing happened sometime between Wednesday and Thursday. I did not see Wednesday practice, but anyway, the good news is he's back. All indications are that he's going to play. He was taped yesterday. A lot of people say he wasn't taped. He was taped at practice underneath the sock. Kenny admitted it. Sock gate.
Yeah. Not showing his feet. Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
We know. We keep an eye on social media as well. But we got to start. We just kind of put a bow on Utah this week for last week's game. ASU just completely dominated on both sides of the ball. Utah 412 total yards, including 276 rushing yards to ASU's 273 total yards. ASU actually had 36 minutes on time of possession, and they weren't terrible. I mean, as far as the numbers go, but they got stalled out on drives a couple times. They had a field goal blocked. They got
Yeah.
behind the chains a few too many times, giving up 5 sacks. There were just, some things that kind of happened at the wrong time to kind of set them back and ultimately led to them being in the hole that they were in the first half. It looked like they were going to bounce back when Jordan Tyson scored that rushing touchdown in the third quarter to kind of get them back in the game a little bit. But then,
Yeah.
Utah just drove right down, and they made Devin Dampier look like,
Oh,
like a
he looks
Heisman candidate.
he looks like he's in the Matrix at times. As far as how he kind of waits and his accelerates and waits, and just he's got
Mhm.
beautiful timing and sense of where his blockers are. The one positive thing I got out of the, even though it was kind of dismal offensive effort, giving the ball to Jordan Tyson in the red zone on that sort of fly sweep that's a playmaker. He's going to find a
Mhm.
way to beat
Oh
you,
yeah.
and I think that going forward, that's got to be part of the red zone problem. The
Well, yeah,
fly
getting the ball in your hands of your playmakers.
there,
Absolutely.
right?
That's got to be a definite focus going forward. Because I mean, that was the whole thing last year. Cam Scatterbo was such a weapon in the red
Right,
zone. They went to
exactly. Yeah.
him so much. It opened up opportunities for other guys. Now I think, if you can make Tyson a focal point in the red zone, maybe that'll open up opportunities for other guys. But you got to have your go-to guy in the red zone, regardless of who you are. That's the way, they're going to be able to hopefully punch in some of these, finish off some of these scoring drives with some with touchdowns instead of field goals, the kind of the way they did against TCU. But I think there's still something to be learned here. I mean, is you try to take some positives out of this. Jordan Tyson did have a good game, 8 receptions, 40 yards to go along with that rushing touchdown. I mean, they were 7 of 18 on third down, though that's not going to get it done.
No.
They were, they only put Utah in 8 third downs the whole game, and they converted two fourth downs. So just you got to be able to get off the field in a situation like that. And yeah, just kind of a game that you kind of have to, crumple up and flush to move on here, because I don't think this is the measuring stick for what ASU has been or will be going forward. I mean, like I said, I think this was their worst game in about 2 years. Having your backup quarterback in can have that effect.
Yeah.
But again, there's a trickle down effect. I feel like the whole team just almost didn't even get off the bus at times. It felt that way. Just the intensity was not there. And part of that again comes on the coaches, and that leads us into what we learned here. We do this every week on after a loss on RWD, and presented by the Valley Athletic Booster Club. And for me, I mean, we kind of touched on it a little bit, and these were the two big things. Letting the vets rest on the bye week was kind of the wrong decision. At this point in the season, you're 5, now 6 games in. You got to keep the intensity level high through the meat of this season, especially now that you're getting into this conference schedule and you're in the midst of this gauntlet that we've mentioned throughout the course of the season. You come through with 2 wins over Baylor and TCU, which were big. Now you're into the bye week, but you got to keep that intensity level up. You want guys, at a high level, amped to play this game, to go into a team that's kind of been one of your rivals from the Pac-12 days, and go out there and play a little harder and be a little bit more competitive, even though your starting quarterback is out. That's no reason to just fold.
No.
Going into this, before the game's even kicked off. And I hate to say that's what ASU did, but hey, their play kind of reflects that attitude a little bit.
Yeah, it's for me, it's real simple. Tackling hurts. Done properly, tackling is not an easy thing, and
Right.
you got and live tackling matters, especially in practice. So the fact that they were live tackling as much as they could this week, I think is gonna help. But
It should.
live tackling there's no substitute. No matter, you can tackle dummies, you can tackle the rings, all that stuff. It's not the same. You got to bring
Right.
people down to the ground, and for me, I mean, what did we learn? We learned that you should, even when your quarterback QB1 is healthy, QB2 should take some first team reps. Now I know that we don't make the same mistake twice, and I think that like I say, Sims is serviceable given the right circumstances. Playing tough in the rain and all that with, I don't know that you can teach him touch, but just keep in mind, all it's going to take is those guys going after Sam's ankles or trying to make him get dirty, and Sims is going to be back in there again. So I think they've got to prepare. You got to keep QB2.
Thanks for speaking on our worst fear.
Well, I remember where was it last year? We lost QB1, QB2. We're playing QB3. Where was it? Yeah, we lost 2 quarterbacks last year in one game. Or was it the year before? Year before.
Yeah, that was 20. That sounds like something 23. 23, we
23.
could not keep a quarterback healthy to save our lives.
Right, 23.
Yeah, that was 23. But yeah, there were offensive line problems there too. But yeah, hopefully that all gets straightened out. And hopefully, I'm really hoping this offensive line without Ben Coleman can kind of come together and gel and be a quality unit, much like we saw last year. But
Yep.
yeah, and then one other thing, just touching on the injuries, it's real. We got multiple players out for an extended period of time. Yeah, that's got to be that next man up mentality. Now it's been that way through most of the season. The team has, had some injury issues. That's been well documented, and it's been guys like Martell Hughes and Boogie Wilson. Like I was saying, the offense, injuries have kind of hit the offensive side now.
Mhm.
With Ben Coleman going down, Kyson Brown going down, and hey, it's got to be next guy up. I mean, Jimeno Bigbo was getting ready to be benched.
Yeah.
Basically, they were going to move Ben Coleman back to left guard. Now he's back in. He's got to raise his game because he has been a bit of a disappointment, especially in pass blocking, uh,
Is
since he stepped in.
is Clem healthy? Is
I think he is.
he's getting reps? I
Yeah,
think
he's
he
getting
has. Yeah.
reps, but he's a tackle. I don't know if you can put him at guard.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to put Henniger um, or Atkins at guard. So yeah, it's kind of a guard situation right now. I mean, I think Wade Helton stepping in is gonna because he is a true center. He does have a modicum of experience at the position that it should help you, but I don't know I don't know what to make. That left guard position's kind of
It's been
been an issue most of the
yeah.
season. Now it's back to a big bow, and he's underwhelmed this year. He's
Yeah.
not been up to par, especially when it comes to pass blocking this year.
And but I've seen Sua in there too, Joey Sua, and he's a
Yeah,
first year.
I think they're experimenting with guys, just kind of. I think they were kind of opening up the competition a little bit
Hmm.
with Coleman down. They kind of knew Helton was going to be the guy at center.
Hmm.
Now who's going to be your left guard. I think they're probably going to give Obigbo another chance, but they should open up the competition to other guys as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I say, I know Sua he's a first year guy, but a big 6'6", 300. He looks he passes the eye test. I mean, but
Mm.
I don't know if he understands the position as well as Jimimbo. But anyway,
Yeah, we'll see. And that's I think that's all we had for what we learned. Presented by the Valley Athletic Booster Club. Support local athletics. Check out valleyathleticboosterclub.com. It's a great organization. Now we kind of move on to our, as we do here on RWD, kind of our Big 12 weekend review. And it was an interesting
yeah,
weekend for the Big 12
right.
with what was going on in Tucson. BYU jumps out to a 14-0 lead, and then they let U of A come back on them,
Right.
and they go into double overtime, and that's what took a BYU defensive stand there to kind of pull out the win. And man, U of A, I hate to say this because I despise them so much, but
Yeah.
they're not a pushover this year. They're not
No, they're
they
not
won't
rolling
go,
up.
they're not a cupcake so much this year.
No, they're to be taken seriously, and it kind of makes me though think that the BYU's been a little more exposed too, as far as what's going on there.
Well, now that people actually have some film on Bachmeyer, I think
Yeah.
that that's certainly helped them. But they're getting ready to go through a tough stretch of schedule here.
Yeah.
Um, and you look at what's going on right now with Iowa State. Speaking of getting exposed, Iowa State's had a couple of close games in recent weeks, and they just got upset by
Yeah.
Colorado
Yeah. What was
over
that
the
all about?
weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
very good question.
just when we're
They did
ready to
not.
throw dirt on the grave for Colorado. Colorado rallies. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was kind of a surprise, especially looking at where Colorado was. That was their first conference win
That's right.
of the year. They were 0-3 going into that game. Now they're 3-4. They're still kind of near the bottom, but they're with UCF, West Virginia, Oklahoma State. But yeah, I'll tell you, a big surprise has been Houston. They're 5-1. Granted, they beat up on Oklahoma State, who's
Yeah.
kind of the patsy, the whipping boy of the conference this year.
Yeah.
But still, 5-1 is 5-1, and they've looked very good through stretches.
I don't know, Ryan. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid yet. I just don't.
Well, they're not ranked yet, which
Oh no.
is so that's saying something. I thought, and they're and we'll talk about them next week. Obviously, they're coming in here
Hmm.
next week, so that's going to be a big game, certainly a bigger one than it looked on the schedule. But they they really haven't beaten anybody. Let's call it like it is.
That's my point.
They beat Stephen F. Austin, Rice, Colorado. They went to Oregon State and won in overtime by 3.
Hmm.
and then they lose they had their first loss 2 weeks ago to Texas Tech, and then they beat up on Oklahoma State. So take it with a grain of salt, but they look a lot better than they did last year. That's for sure. They
Isn't
they
that
they were competitive last year. They just couldn't finish games. Now
that's right?
they're
Yeah.
actually putting teams away.
But that's why I like this conference, quite
Mm.
frankly. It's, you know, from year to year, it's never the same. The parity is just everywhere.
Hmm.
Good looking. I mean, good quarterbacks, good running backs. All, it's a great skill position. I just like the conference a lot.
And the defense has actually been a little bit better than it
Hmm.
has in recent past. That was one thing, you can always count on the Big 12 to put
Yeah.
up points, and they were more, I remember them kind of, in the 90s and 2000s kind of being more of a run first conference. Still put up
Right.
a lot of points. They produced a lot of great running backs. But they still play good defense. Now things have kind of changed. They kind of become more of a pass happy pass happy offensive
Sure.
first, a lot of these teams, but the defense, I think, for several of them has definitely ramped up and been very solid as well, especially when, I mean, before getting upset by Colorado, Iowa State's defense looked really good through early stretches of the season. So did BYU's. Um, now the teams have got more film on some of these programs, and it's kind of evening out a little bit. But again, that's where the parity comes in. Anybody
Yeah.
can beat anybody on just about any given
I,
Saturday. So
I kind of think that like what you see in Texas Tech is what with the air raid and the shift away from the run first is
yeah,
kind of maybe where it's going, you know?
well, that's how a
Uh,
lot of college football has gone, really. I mean, I mean, I think Stanford was kind of like the last true pro style, you know,
mm-hmm.
put put seven on the line with a fullback and run it down your throat.
Right,
We haven't really seen any teams do that very consistently. Most teams have spread or air raid elements in their offense
right.
because, that's just how it's just how you throw it. Again, it's, you got to run to win, throw to score.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the philosophy everyone's kind of taken. And, it's, it's worked. That's what a lot of teams are doing now. And that's what the NFL's doing now. So that's, it's worked, and that's what everybody's going for. But yeah, it's still a great conference. It's still very, very entertaining week in and week
Yep.
out. And yeah, we're looking forward to more of the same this weekend. I mean, I know there's a couple games. I know you and I are both really looking at um, around the Big 12, where there could be some early, even though it's still relatively early, what some teams' postseason hopes could kind of rest. You got the Holy War, Utah at BYU, always an
That's
entertaining game.
that's always entertaining, and
Yes.
it's got championship implications.
Mm.
Should this is a big weekend,
Yeah.
but no, I'm excited to and I tell you this, our players, well, there may be a little bit of looking ahead, but at sort of the kickoff luncheon, every one of them pointed to this team because they beat us last year. It's in the back of their mind.
Oh yeah.
They all want to
Well, and
take
as many Texas kids as we have, yeah, they
eggs.
want their pound of flesh. They want their vengeance
That's right.
on some of these players, especially when,
That's right.
Texas Tech is kind of buying themselves
Yeah,
a great team,
we're going to talk about that.
with
And we're going to
yeah,
talk about
and
that
we
in a
are going
minute.
to talk about that. And as we get going to Texas Tech, they are ranked number 7 in the nation currently. They are undefeated on the year at 6-0. Um, and Joey McGuire's done a great job since he took over
Oh yeah.
4 years ago. And he's,
Tw-
now 29-16 in 4 plus year in well 3 plus years, I should say. And that influx of money, can only take you so far. We talked about that at the beginning of the year, and we thought it could have the potential to be like a USC situation a few years ago when they kind of bought out the transfer portal when Lincoln Riley came in.
Yeah.
They poached a bunch of Oklahoma players. They poached a few ASU players too. They got Eric Gentry to go there. and
Well,
but they ended up, I think they ended up like 7-5, 8-5 after
mhm.
they won. They might have
Right.
won their bowl game, but yeah, they were very mediocre.
But
So it takes the right kind of coach to put that talent together and make it fit into your system and make sure it's gels with what you already have.
they went out and bought 22 players.
Hmm.
And I've watched them now 3 times. They bought some really I mean, some of these guys don't look like they should be playing college football. I'm just telling you. But
They
I'm
are specimens.
but
You were not kidding.
I am but I'm going to throw some water on this 27 million. That was donated by well, there was two players, but two guys who sold their oil and gas company.
Right.
Uh, and all you can't. So I'm the admin for Sun Devil Nation Facebook page, in case you didn't know, but you guys all know me, who follow this stuff. The the tw they got that 27 million and bought those kids before the new rules came in for NIL in April. Now,
Mm.
yes, you can. If they did that today, it would never pass muster. This is not.
Mm.
This is a. I believe this is a one and done, and it's not sustainable because now anything over $600, you have to prove that there's a quid pro quo, that you're giving them a fair market value for the services rendered.
Yeah.
And so I, I think they bought themselves a team this year, maybe a conference championship, but
Probably.
but
And a playoff berth in
and a
all
playoff,
likelihood.
yeah, playoff berth, but it's not sustainable. And I have all these Texas Tech fans coming on the Sun Devil Nation trying to give me crap like, you don't know what you're talking about. We're going to be back next year with the same money. Do you know how much 6 billion with the interest alone is? I'm like, it does, unless you're prepared not to follow the rules and break away from the NC2A and play nobody. I don't
Mm.
understand. I don't understand what you're talking about because this is not in the rules anymore. This you cannot have pure pay for play. And
Yeah.
so I know they've got hope in their soul, but that is good. Good for you. But it
Yeah,
ain't.
that only take you so far.
It's not. It's not. Hope is not a strategy. I'm sorry.
No.
So
Mm-mm.
good luck with that. Um,
Yeah,
but
but
it
you know,
but it
with
rate but
the
it's
here and the now, they've done a great job putting a quality team together, and especially on defense, I've been very impressed
yeah.
um, with what they put together. 'Cause that was always Texas Tech's Achilles heel in the past was,
Mhm.
yeah, they could score a ton of points with their air raid, but they played no defense. I mean,
Yes.
I rewatched that 2016 game, the Kalen Balaj 8 touchdown game,
Yeah.
the other day, and man, that was some weak sauce on D for both teams. It wasn't exactly a defensive clinic for either team, but ASU was just a little bit better when
The,
they needed to be on that side of the ball.
the flip
But
side
yeah,
flip
Tech
side of
was just awful. I mean, the fact that
oh yeah,
they had Patrick Mahomes
Mahomes.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and couldn't win more games than they did.
You
It's
talk about a
just a
boat
testament
race.
To the defense.
That's the classic definition of a boat race. But I'm just going to say
Yes.
this, Ryan. Um, Even if they don't, if they choose not to follow the rules, and it's not clear yet what the penalties are going to be for not following the NIL rules and the new commission, and
Mm,
all that. However, if this does anything, it's going to. Kenny even spoke about this. It needs to be a wake up call to our community and our businesses to step up and do some stuff. So even if they figure out a way to spend more money through legitimate purposes and legitimate means, advertising and marketing and billboards and TV
sure.
ads and all that stuff. This should, Kenny's using this as a rallying cry to our community, not just our football fans, because fans can just do what they can, but it's the businesses that really should be paying attention to all this.
Yeah.
So, maybe this is just all part of the lesson that has to be learned.
Hmm.
Right now for a program like this. But I don't see us sitting back and letting a team like this, in a very small market, come on and somehow dominate we're the number 5 market, in some cases 6 market, and number 6 in TV. We should be, we should not be relegated because of this. Like
Yeah.
so,
No,
uh,
I don't think so. And I think last year was kind of a testament to what this team is certainly capable of. And they took steps to
right.
to shore up any in the weaknesses that they had. And I like the direction that they're headed. I feel like if they can continue to pay these players what they're worth and keep this team together, the core, and continue to kind of develop the way they have, they're going to get better, and they're going to continue to draw in great talent. that can help his team, that it can help ASU win.
The,
So
the
that,
good the good thing we've seen, Ryan, to date is that the players we have can play. There's
yes.
there, there's we
No
and
wasted scholarships.
that's
Yes, we
that's it.
that was a focal point at the
Well,
beginning of the year. You and I
well,
both talked
when they're
about.
all participating in revenue share, they should, and I think they've got that right. Well, while we don't have a dedicated general manager yet for this, we may, but like a lot of teams, I think it's clear that they know exactly the profile of kid they want. We are recruiting to culture, not to the position. To
Yeah.
any one specific thing. So we're going in the right direction, people. We just need everybody needs to step up and and you'll
Well,
see a lot of neat NIL
open up those
things.
wallets a little bit.
Well, I think you're going to see a lot more creative NIL kinds of things happening.
Hmm.
Roundup programs and all kinds of stuff like that. So, reverse the charges on your credit card. Back those kinds of programs coming
Yes.
in vogue.
Okay.
So
Well,
anyway, no,
yeah.
what do I see? If we're going to get into the players now, to the offense and defense, and
Yep.
the
And
the Jimmys and the Joes.
Texas Tech has been a tremendous offense this year. I mean, they
Yep.
have outscored opponents 285 to 73
Yeah.
through 6 games. They really haven't been challenged. They've won every game by double digits. They haven't allowed 20 points yet in a game this year.
Right.
Granted, that's, take it with a grain of salt, based on who they played, but they've done a great job, and a big reason why has been, that with their offense coming on the way it has,
Right.
with offensive coordinator Mac Leftwich, who they brought over from Texas State last year. He's in his first year, and they knew they were going to be solid at quarterback with Baron Morton. He's been a guy. Last year was tremendous. Big part of the reason they beat ASU 30-22 last season. And he's passed for over 1,500 yards, thrown 13 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions. But he's faced some injury issues this year. He's questionable in this game with an undisclosed injury. And but when he went out a few weeks ago against Utah, Will Hammond stepped in and just went off
Right.
against the Utes. And in limited time this year, I mean, he got a chance to play a little bit last game too, because Morton was hurt against Kansas, I believe. Um, he went out and you know played well again. Through he's seen minimum time in like about 4 or 5 games this year, but he's been 38 of 57, 411 yards, 4 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, and he's a true dual threat.
Mhm.
Morton can run a little bit, but Hammond is the true dual threat
Right.
with 231 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns on the season. So we'll see who actually suits up, but regardless of who plays, they they got a couple studs at that quarterback spot
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
I'm sure we're preparing for both scenarios. Um,
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of Hammond a little bit more, because there you have the
Well, less
opportunity,
experience. Yeah.
less experience, exactly, and the book is how many two ints, whereas Morton
Mm,
has three.
yeah.
Um, but
And but with a lot fewer. I mean,
reps, yeah,
almost 100 fewer passing
right,
attempts.
yeah,
So
but the book on Hammond is that he will throw some bad balls, if you pressure him
mm,
correctly, in the right way.
okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I got mad respect for what they put together over there. My question is, um, are they a one-dimensional throwing tape? But they do have a running back. They're
Yeah,
they're,
they
they're
have a
number
very
well they're
they have a
number
very good running back
well they
in
lost
Cameron
they,
Dickey,
yeah
who's really
they,
stepped up and played well this year.
they lost their number one running back.
Yep, Quentin Joyner came over from USC and was
That's right.
expected to be that top back, but yeah,
Right.
he's out for the season. But Cameron Dickey has stepped up and played very, very well. Um, almost 600 yards and 8 touchdowns on the season. He's a decent receiving threat. He's caught 10 balls this year for about 122 yards. But his real damage is on the ground. He's got he's been a bit of a workhorse with 91 carries on the season,
Hmm.
but he's got, big playability written all over him. And, I mean, he's just been a tremendous player this year. He's got a 70-yard run this year. So, I mean, he's certainly capable of, of some big plays.
No,
And
and they've got a
yeah,
second running back too,
yeah,
Williams.
Jacoby Williams, yes, he's been in and kind of come in as the number two back. He's a little better receiving threat than Dickey is, but he's done his damage on the ground too. 358 yards on 68 carries and 4 touchdowns on the ground. He's also got a receiving touchdown on the season, so they'll use both guys, um, you know, intermittently and keep both guys fresh as a result too.
Sure,
So
sure.
they split the carries pretty evenly. I mean, it's about 2-1, I'd say. Dickey, gets the nod, but Williams is a good third down back. He's a little more of a scat back, but he can also run guys over. He's got pretty good size for a guy who runs as well as he does. So, yeah, they're pretty well stacked at that position as well. And then they've went out and got they had a couple good receivers before last season. Caleb Douglas has kind of been their top guy this year. Coy Eakin is another guy, but they really wanted to shore up that third receiver spot, and they went out and got Reggie Virgil from Miami of Ohio, and he's had himself a nice year. Douglas and Douglas and Eakin are kind of the top two guys in this offense, but Reggie Virgil leads the team and is second on the team in receiving touchdowns, with 4 on the season,
Right.
and he's caught 23 balls. The Douglas and Eakin have both caught 24. So they spread the ball around quite a bit. It's not just one receiver. You kind of have to pick your poison when it comes to the receiving core because they have guys who can beat you in a lot of different ways, and they look for all of them. So.
Including a tight end.
Yeah, that tight
A
end
bit-
has been very solid this year.
yeah,
Terrence Carter Jr., he's another transfer. They got in the portal from Louisiana Lafayette, and he leads the team with 5 touchdown catches on
that's
the
right.
year. So he's a big red zone target. He's got almost 300 receiving yards as well. So they're yeah, it's been very impressive what they've been able to do on offense, both on the ground and through the air. They have not scored any less than
40,
34 points
34.
on the
That's
season.
it.
That's their lowest total, and that was against Utah. Um, so good luck keeping them under 30 because it's
I,
they are
I,
they are legit on this side of the ball for sure.
yeah, yep. So the tight end.
And the offensive line was kind of an issue at times last year. They definitely addressed some of the holes that they had. Again, one big guy was another Miami of Ohio transfer, Will Jados, has
Hmm.
been very good for them this year. He certainly looks the part as a 6'8", 307-pound offensive. They have him at tackle and guard. I think he's mostly a tackle though. And just a couple of the other guys as far as Howard Sampson's the other tackle, North Carolina transfer who's come in and played very well. So
Yep.
they certainly shored up some of the weaknesses that they've had along that offensive line. And
I,
it's been a good group this year. I mean, Morton, I think, has only been sacked oh no, I'm sorry. Morton's been sacked 6 times, but Hammond has not been sacked at all this year.
right.
So, but still, 6 sacks through 6 games is pretty good.
I'm really.
So,
I have looked at their line and the way they execute, how physical they are, and
mm,
I've circled. Well, I have three players, really 2 players, really 3 players that really got to step it up on our side because of these guys. I'm looking
yeah,
for big games from Fight. I'm looking for big games from Kongaika, and I'm looking for a big game from uh, our, the eldest defensive end. Come on here.
Smith, Dorba.
No. Watley.
Oh,
Watley.
Watley.
What?
Yes.
And the reason why Watley's a big guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big, thick DN, and I think you
He's
really got to.
he's our edge setter.
He's our edge setter, correct? And and
Mm-hmm.
and because of their offensive line, and just on a people to people level, I
Mm,
think he's got to have a big game. Those 3 guys have to have big games.
I agree.
Our bigs inside and Watley setting that edge. So yeah, guys, you can go Sam, as you said from the very beginning. Sam does not block and tackle.
So,
No,
but yeah, this has been a very potent offense, and yeah, certainly you're going to need pretty much all your guys, especially your front seven, though, playing at a high level. Going to need those linebackers to come in because they did not play. They were very
no.
subpar against Utah.
Yeah,
You cannot be missing tackles against this group because
correct.
they will make you pay with some big runs.
Yeah.
And yeah, so definitely going to be on the lookout for that. But I'll tell you, Texas Tech's defense is a
Oh,
marked improvement over last year, and
yep,
they addressed that in the transfer portal as well.
yep,
But
yep.
yeah, they've only allowed about on average 12 points a game. Their rush defense has been tremendous, only giving up 63 yards a game on the ground. Um, and they got a couple of really talented linebackers in Jacob Rodriguez and Ben Roberts in the middle. Rodriguez is definitely the leader of that defense. He fills up the
Right.
stat sheet: 47 tackles. He's got a sack, 2 interceptions, and 2 forced fumbles on the year. Now he was battling an injury this week, but he is considered probable. So there's no reason to think he won't play on Saturday. But yeah, and then Ben Roberts, he's kind of his running partner in the middle there with 32 tackles and 4 pass deflections. He kind of drops into coverage a little bit more. Rodriguez is a little bit more of a run stuffer, but both these guys are good in coverage as well. But I'll tell you, the edges have been very good this year. David Bailey's a holdover from last year, and he's got 8.5 sacks and 2 forced fumbles on the season. He's been tremendous. And then their other DN, Romello Height, has been very good this year. He is questionable in this game, though. He's got 4.5 sacks on the season. He comes over from Georgia Tech. He's been very good this year, but he is questionable. So we'll see if he actually does suit up. In the middle, they had another guy, Skylar
Gil
Hill.
Gil Howard.
Yeah, Hill
Gil, Gil.
Gil Howard. There we go.
Gil Howard.
Skylar Gil Howard has
He's
been their
done.
best interior D lineman. He
Ankle.
is going to be out for the season now
Yeah.
with an injury, and he won't be here. But they got a couple good guys in AJ Holmes and also Lee Hunter. Maybe familiar. He was Central Florida's big run stuffer last year, and he comes over to Lubbock in the portal, and he's been very good in their run game as well. Big reason why they're again only giving up about 60 yards a game on the ground. So ASU's really going to have to play well if they want to establish the line of scrimmage
And they're bringing
against
in
this group.
a senior backup too as a result of losing that tackle. Marion Banks is
Mm.
supposed to play a big role for them, or expected to be and he's a senior. So yeah, you'll probably see that name. Anyway,
Marion Banks. Yes,
Marion Banks. Yeah.
I absolutely believe that. And but you look at this secondary. Um, Couple decent guys in but Bryce Pollock is certainly their best corner. He comes over from Mississippi State. He's got 3 interceptions on the season, but then they have a really good strong safety in Cole Wisniewski. Plays close to the line of scrimmage. He's got a sack on the year to go along 28 tackles and a forced fumble. So he's been very good for them as well. So this is very talented group of DBs. Not as good as I think the front is more their
Yeah.
strength with
Clear.
especially with
Clear.
as good as their pass rush has been this year with Height and David Bailey. And AJ Holmes is another guy who's been playing really well for them. He's got 3 sacks on the season.
From
So
Houston. Yeah, I got him from Houston.
yeah, and they've that front has been very tough. So this offensive line is really going to have to bring their A game to try to give Levitt some time and open up some running holes as well.
Yeah, I often wonder when you have that good of a pass rush, what do you do to counter it? And I'm talking to some of the beat writers and some of the old vets laying around. I said, do you go ahead and start doing you start looking at draws, to let the lanes get established.
Yes.
To let
Screens and draws. That's
Screens and draws.
traditionally been the best way to slow down the pass rush.
Exactly, and especially to let a runner like Ray Leak, who likes to tiptoe till he sees a hole, to let him
Yeah.
see those lanes and holes develop.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just that's been my thing, but it never really happened last week. But I was looking for it, and I'm thinking it's got to be a part of the equation here. Anyway,
Yeah, I think it will be this week too. I think they're going to work, do what they can to establish the line of scrimmage, if for nothing else, than to protect Levitt
yeah,
from aggravating his injury, so he hopefully doesn't have to run as much, even though it's a big part of his game, and it's been a big part of ASU's offense this year. But they're going to have to get a little more traditional this week, I think, because we don't know, how well Levitt can really run
yeah.
right
Uh,
now with
Now,
that injury.
and from what I'm gathering, AJ is healthy now.
Yes, yeah. Well, he caught a ball against Utah,
Yeah,
which was
yeah,
good to
yeah,
see. That was good to
yeah,
see him get some reps,
yeah.
certainly. So, some guys can maybe coming back here. With the injury, the injuries kind of happened. Yeah, he got dinged a little bit
He did,
in fall camp.
right.
So it's good to get him back. That would be a nice
It,
pickup, and
it,
to have him back.
well, because I think everybody keys on Mateer when he's in too, especially and
Well,
having
he's
an
been kind of our go-to guy at the tight end spot.
yeah, and Kamari's gotten targeted a few times, but I there's no substituting the size of an Ia, as far as the
Or his
mismatch
speed.
or
His
speed.
speed too has
Yeah,
been
yeah,
is well documented.
he's a player. Really, folks, can be a great player in the future for us.
Yeah.
AJE.
Looking forward to, as a true freshman. I mean, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him. Don't be surprised if he doesn't get some run here coming up in
Mm-hmm.
the last half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Mm-hmm.
leads us into our keys to the game, presented by Sleep in Heavenly Peace, um, a great nonprofit that builds beds for families in need. Please support Sleep in Heavenly Peace. And for me, it's got to be the three F's for me: focus, ferocity, finish. Wrap up on your tackles.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take any plays off. I mean, you got to be going 100, every single down against this team. This is the cream of the crop in the Big 12. You want to get back to the Big 12 championship game. It's got to go through this team, and you've got to bring your A game every single play, or they will make you put you on a highlight reel. They will
Mm-hmm.
not. They will not relent. And then finish drives, finish blocks, finish everything. Touchdowns, not field goals. That's got to be the mantra in this against a team like this that can put a lot of points up on the board in a hurry. And ASU's got to continue to execute,
Mm-hmm.
which is something they really lacked against Utah. That was something that we've kind of gotten out of used to seeing with Kenny Dillingham teams. So hopefully they'll get away from that and get back to playing traditional dilly ball.
No, I think our guys love playing at home. They love our crowd. They love
Hmm.
the competitive
What's
advantage.
not to love?
And we've showed up. Another sellout, folks.
Hmm.
Congratulations. That's awesome. Uh, but I think the key in order to win, and I know this sounds like a tall task the way they score, but and I have looked back at this, if you can keep them under 24 points, it's almost a guaranteed win. Yeah. Now that's a
That is asking a lot, John.
that's
Woof.
asking a lot. I know, but um, it means you got to shut down a lot of their, turn them into a one-dimensional team somehow. But part of my
Well,
thinking,
we've been very good against the run up until last week.
right, right, and
You know,
I don't think we've lost that. I don't think anything
mm,
fundamental is wrong.
mm.
I think we got physically beat up front. We
Well, yeah,
stopped
you
moving.
got. I mean, you got a couple got. All Utah's got at least two probably first round picks. Spencer Fano
Absolutely.
might be the first offensive lineman off the board.
Hmm.
So you take. I get it. You're getting dominated up front by a team with more size, but you still
Right.
got to tackle when you get your opportunities. And I think that that's
Yeah.
that's kind of what's got to be the focus this week.
Yeah.
And also my other key is got to be Levitt alone.
Yeah.
Give Sam some time in the pocket
Yes.
because he's a very accurate. He is actually a very accurate passer. When he's given time, he can pick a defense apart. So just
See.
if you can give him time to throw there in the pocket, he doesn't need to run. He won't need to beat you with his legs if you can just give him some time. And I think that that's got to be a key this week, especially with Ben Coleman out. Somebody's got to step up on that offensive line and kind of be the vocal leader, be the guy who can kind of carry this team when they don't necessarily believe in themselves or they're getting beat. there's got to be a guy on that offensive line kind of stepping up and saying, "Hey, we're here. Let's do this. We know what we need to do. Let's go out and do it."
Yeah, I think Atkins and
Hannah
Ahinakor
Jor.
are really the keys to this, guys.
Totally.
Contain.
Well, against that pass rush, especially if Romello Height does play,
Yep.
yeah, they're going to need to be on their A game, definitely.
Yeah, I love your your keys. Mine is, again, you got to slow these guys down in terms of the
Hmm.
number of points they're scoring. There's
Well,
ways to
and
do
that
that.
goes back to ball control, playing drawing them out, getting first downs, extending drives,
Hmm.
picking up first downs on money down on third down, that kind of thing, controlling the time of possession. If something they did against Utah,
Yeah.
but it
Eh,
didn't yield really any enough points.
yeah.
Now again, that goes back to finishing drives. When you go on these long sustained drives, you got to come away with touchdowns. And I mean, it was great when you were getting points. That's fine, but you got a number 7 team in the nation coming into Sun Devil Stadium. You got to
Mhm.
finish drives with touchdowns
Yeah.
this week.
I uh, I did hit on the fact that certain guys on our D line, really, and Watley especially, have got to have big games, and then you got to win this turnover battle. I think
Mm,
plus two has got to be at least, you know,
that's a
plus
big key,
big,
definitely.
big key for me. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I mean, Morton has not been so prone this year. Only 3 interceptions
hmm
through 3 games, through 6 games, excuse me. I mean, granted, he's been out with injuries for a few times,
right.
but yeah, I mean, yeah, that is a guy. It's a guy who, if you can get to him, I think you can maybe force some mistakes. He's not. I mean, he's a big physical guy. He's a true pocket passer, so he can take the rush. But yeah, if you put some pressure on him, and that's been one thing ASU's done well this year. They have done well in the pass rush.
Right.
So they didn't they kind of struggled against that really tough line at Utah. But hey, this could certainly be a bounce back game for them.
So when I talk about keeping them under 24, I'm really talking about keeping them. They if you go back and look at how they score their points, first quarter is a big quarter for them.
Hmm.
You need to really expend a lot of energy in this first quarter defensively, just to keep them
And
keep.
eh,
And if you can keep them with to 1 to 7 or 10 in the first quarter, you got a pretty good shot at winning this game.
and slow starts have been a thing with ASU this
Yeah.
year, especially. I mean, more offensively than defensively.
Right.
Defensively, done pretty well in the first quarter for the most part. I mean, at the end of the first quarter against Utah, it was 7-3.
Yeah.
So I mean, they didn't come out of the gates really
But
bad
but
necessarily.
what I'm saying is you've got to the coaches have really got to tell the defense, expend a lot of your energy in that first quarter to keep that score down.
Hmm.
Because if you look at, again, first quarter is their biggest quarter. Keep
Yeah.
keep keep them really out of the end zone. Let threes are fine, but
Hmm.
you can't let them go nuts with you on the first quarter. So
Yeah.
if you spend the energy in the first quarter, it's going to pay dividends in the fourth. Is my point.
I agree.
Okay.
So that
So
takes us into our prediction, and it pains me to say it, but I got Texas Tech winning this game 34-23. I think ASU will stay with them for about 3.5 quarters. It'll kind of be a seesaw back and forth battle, but then Texas Tech will probably get a late score and kind of put it out of reach. Um, just a little bit too much firepower, I feel like, on both sides of the ball for this team. And ASU coming off that tough loss with the injuries that they're going through right now, I just feel like Texas Tech's going to be a little bit too much. They're just going to get a little, ASU is going to get a little bit outclassed in this game through 4 quarters. Unfortunately, I hope I'm wrong. Certainly, I hope I'm wrong.
yeah.
But that is my feeling. Just on paper going into this game.
I'm gonna go here. I think we're going to overtime. And
Ooh,
I'm thinking
intriguing.
if we expend the energy in the first quarter, keep the score low, and hang around and play for overtime, I think we can pull it out. Just
Ooh.
because I know we're dinged up. Yeah, that's fine. Sam, like I said earlier, Sam does not block and tackle, folks. This is a
Mm.
game up front. I don't see us getting beat 2 weeks in a row by Utah. And I think if we really have done anything this week in terms of increasing our intensity when it comes to tackling, the intensity of picking up, the extra block, getting to the next level on the blocks, I think we have a chance. I'm saying I'm saying 30-27. We'll pull this off in overtime. So
Ooh.
yeah, I
I
know.
like the confidence, John, and I'm hoping that you're right, but I don't know. We'll see. But that'll do it for us. 1 o'clock kickoff on Saturday at Sun Devil Stadium. Get out there early and support your Devils. We certainly will be. So we got to say goodnight from Big John Caldwell. I'm the RyKno, Ryan Knowles. Say go Devils, forks up, roll the Raiders.